I'm Eugenio Cosentino. I'm one of the 3 members and founders of the architecture and design studio Parasite 2.0. We are based in Milan, in Italy. As I said before, we work between different fields, architecture, design, but also contemporary arts, visual arts. And it depends on the occasion, on the projects we are developing, and we decide which will be the outcome of the specific projects. And it can be something more physical, more architectural, but also the lifespan of a project can change accordingly to the occasion and to the project we have to develop. Let's say that we have different levels about this project, about the installation you can visit, you can see at the exhibition. The first thing is a more playful part, which is about the colors we used, with the different elements of the structures you see behind me. But I have to say that these colors are not by chance. We took these colors from the work of Ioan Both, the researcher we worked with. Actually, these are the colors of the diagrams of strains and stresses he applied to some structural elements in his work. So even though they could seem very playful, and it is actually a very colorful installation, there is a specific reason why we use this kind of colors. The second aspect that stands behind the project is a more content-related part, and it's about the work that Ioan develops as a structural engineer. Let's say that we try to narrate all the hidden works, all the hidden parts that stands behind architecture nowadays. When we enter a building, we never ask ourselves if a building is going to fall down, for example. We take it for granted, luckily. But of course, there is a huge grid of elements, a very hidden web of elements that stands behind this concept. That is engineering, manufacturing, manpower, for example, and all these aspects, all these elements, we try to narrate them through these elements, through this composition, through this installation. We started developing the project thanks to the elements, the contents, the videos shown by Ioan to us, and we found them. Of course, we filtered them through our eyes, through our vision, and through our perspective. At the beginning, we were completely attracted by the diagrams of strains and stresses he shown us, and I would say that this is, of course, the most complex part of the project, but at the same time, the most fundamental part. And so, if on one hand we have a more playful and colorful part, that is also the most immediate, the most visible part of the project, at the same time, there is a more hidden part, but a more complex part that is about all the parts of a process that compose and that can allow us to enter a building without it falling down, and that is something that we, as I said before, we give it for granted. Luckily, even though he's an engineer and we are architects, and there is this legend of architects and engineers that cannot speak together so much very easily. To be honest, I have to say that the collaboration, the conversation we had was very easy and simple. We were, both of us, from the 2 actors, let's say Ioan and us, were very open to the work of the others, let's say, and to listen to each other. We started actually from his work. We started looking at the videos and at the stress tests he showed us, and so that was the starting point. So let's say that he was the sparkle of the entire project, of the entire process, and we just interpret through his eyes his work, let's say. So we try to communicate also between us in the easiest way, let's say, also because the structural design he developed is very complex, even though it could be easy to read through images and pictures, but at the same time it's very complex in terms of all the maths, for example, and all the complex element that they have to analyze to develop, for example, a structure like this. Even though it seems very easy, it's very complex also to produce a structure like this. So we were completely open to listen to him and to explain and to receive the explanation of his work. At the same time, then, we expressed our intentions, let's say, in order to reach the final composition. That is the one you can see behind me. Of course, we read, we interpret Ioan's work in a more artistic way, let's say, in a more volumetrical way, and this is the result, actually. He was very also open and interested in, let's say, touch a different field. Is not very common and is not very usual to the, let's say, contemporary art world, not in terms of looking at it, but in terms of being part of it, let's say. So this was, let's say, the most important aspect, I would say. So for us to enter a very scientific world and for him to enter something maybe less complex, but at the same time more important in order to express something that otherwise could seem inaccessible to the others, to the other people's eyes.